if you're that upset, hello, welcome to the live stream where we do it live. Let's see. Hiding in her bag. There we go. Where we do it live every Monday now. Every Monday. And Joe Meir Hobbs is already here. Hi, Joe Meir Hobbs. Good to see you. Good to see you as always. Save that for a minute. First, as we wait for more people to join, let me tell you about my week. Just briefly, what did I do? Oh, yeah. So on Monday, I went to the Weston Club over at Sagemore. So this was a 55 and older community. They have like a clubhouse. They do activities. So I did an event there. That was nice on Monday. Then on Saturday, I thought I was going to get rained out of the farmer's market I was supposed to do in Chatsworth, the capital of the Pines. And it looked really bad all the way up until like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I finally just sent him an email and said, I'm out. And then, of course, it didn't rain the next day and I was kicking myself. But whatever. I'll be back at Chatsworth on August 1st. But then I went to the Rancocas Woods Farm Market yesterday. And that was really great. The weather was perfect. Oh, so nice yesterday. After the rain had cooled everything off, it was still nice and sunny, a little bit of a breeze, not too much. And I saw the folks in Mount Laurel there. So it was a great day. I also got to do my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil for like a group of people outside. A little different venue for me. They have a little stage there. And it was fun. It was a fun time. And that's it. And now it's Monday. So I am gearing up for a big event for me. I will be doing the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference in Gatlinburg, Tennessee this Saturday, the 25th. So if you're in the Tennessee area, this is your chance to see me live. I will be doing my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil, telling everybody in Tennessee about the Jersey Devil. Mark is here. We'll do it live. Yes, we will. We'll do it live. F it. F it. I'll write it. We'll do it live. Yes, I love that. Bill O'Reilly having a meltdown clip is the greatest clip on the internet. If you haven't seen it, you really ought to treat yourself and watch that clip, because watching Bill O'Reilly lose his S, I mean, he completely loses it. Because, like, he's got like 1 foot out the door. For him, it's work, right? So it's not like he cares that it's a TV show. For him, it's just another day at the races. And he just has to do one more thing, and then he can go home, or he probably had a hot date, or whatever he does in his spare time. He wanted out. And, man, he kept, I don't know if he was screwing it up or the director was screwing it up. It's so funny. So damn funny. But good to see you, Mark. We're going to be talking about movies today. I know, shocker. And box office. There has been a little bit of chatter, I think, about one particular movie. I wonder what that movie could be, Tony. Yeah, I know. It's a real mystery. Let's check the numbers and see what movie that is. Oh my God, it's the Odyssey. Yes, the Odyssey, the movie everybody's arguing about, we will be talking about tonight. Right now we're talking about it. So the Odyssey, much to my shock, overperformed, allegedly, made $123 million. Now, I say allegedly because the initial estimates were very vague. Normally, when a movie is calculated by the powers that be, they'll do a range like 60 to 80. Like Moana, I think, was supposed to make 60 or 80 domestically. Or they'll say, something very specific like 110 million. And they do that for most movies. But when you're talking about a movie like The Odyssey, a movie that sort of can't fail without Hollywood looking really, really bad, I think they maybe, just my suggestion, they maybe purposely came underneath it in order to make it look better, right? The estimate was 117 million. But it could have just overperformed. I mean, Christopher Nolan does have a following. There's no denying that. I think he may have damaged his following with this movie, but that's just my opinion. You know, I don't think a few weeks from now people are going to be talking about the Odyssey. They're talking about it now. Oh, absolutely. And now, initially, I thought Spider-Man comes next week. It actually comes in 2 weeks, the 31st. So he's got a free weekend to make money on this thing. So there's really nothing up against the Odyssey next week, which means it's likely to be at the top of the charts next weekend as well. But the question is, will it do 50% or less? If this movie has a drop-off of 50% or less, that means the movie has legs. That means the movie, like Obsession had all kinds of crazy legs. It hardly dropped at all. People were like rushing into the theaters to see Obsession. Will the same thing happen to the Odyssey? I kind of doubt it. Mark, short-term praise is going to hurt his long-range credibility. Yes. And I think something similar will happen next week, because part of the push this week included IMAX. Now, IMAX, if you've never been to an IMAX theater, like a real one, there's like digital IMAX, which I guess is some sort of near IMAX version. I've never been to either one. And then there's regular IMAX, which is the big, huge one. That movie ticket is going to cost you $20 to $25. So basically double what a regular movie ticket costs. So when you calculate the money, you're getting a little bit of a boost, even though there's only 25 theaters in the United States playing this in IMAX. I'm not sure about overseas. I don't know if I'm sure there must be a few IMAX screens overseas. But that's going to give it a little bit of a boost. And you have to figure on the second weekend, unless this movie has hypnotized people, you're probably going to get a drop off. I mean, you get a natural drop off anyway. But you may get a bigger drop off from, say, the IMAX screens, simply because they're more expensive, and perhaps the movie is not hitting the way it should. I don't know. Now, there's a lot of controversy. There's no denying that the visuals, for some people, are spectacular. But I've also heard complaints about the visuals, and I've heard a ton of complaints about the sound. And that doesn't bode well. It's one thing to have, you know, a movie like, oh gosh, what's that Akira Kurosawa flick? I think it's Ran? I want to say it's called Ran. It's just, there's no plot to it. It's like cherry blossoms and all kinds of cool stuff in Japan. It's really nice looking movie, but there's no plot to it. And that would be the sort of film like, oh, I know a good movie, Koyaanisqatsi. Koyaanisqatsi was a movie with no plot. It was images and electronic music. That's all it is. It's basically a movie designed for people who are very, very high. And I saw it in college. And it's a cool movie. It's different, you know. You're just seeing images and hearing music. And but like a movie like that, you want to see in IMAX, right? And you're not going to get a big drop-off on that because there's no story to disappoint. Either you want to go see it or you don't. I think the story, I mean, certainly the dialogue is just brutal in this movie. I mean, Matt Damon in one scene, and in a very American accent, says something like, "We're at the end of the Bronze Age," or something like that. I forget the exact line. And I just thought, oh, that's awful. And I've seen the clips with Elliot Page and a few others, and it's just actors saying the lines. Like, they're not putting on any kind of airs whatsoever. Mark, do you remember how muffled Bane sounded in that Nolan Batman trailer? Nolan actually listened and reworked the sound. I don't remember that in the trailer. I remember in the movie watching it and going, what did he say? But I know that's been a complaint in Christopher Nolan movies for years. What's the line from Bane? It's like, you have lived in the darkness. I was born in it, Mr. Wayne. That was my Bane. But yeah, it's a problem with Nolan movies. It's a big enough problem anyway that people have said it over and over again. I'm not sure why. I mean, you spend $250 million on a movie and you can't get good sound? It's just bizarre. It's just bizarre. Mark, Bane sounded much worse in the first trailer. I don't remember, but I'll take your word for it. I'm sure he did. I remember the first trailer. Yeah, that's probably true, because I sort of remember wondering what Bane sounded like after watching the first trailer. And someone said something like, well, he said something. Because we watched that one in the movies, I think. Back when we were still going to movies. But, so that's an issue. The casting, of course, is an issue. I mean, let's get into this. Look, I don't care that Elliot Page wants to be a man. I really don't. And I thought you could take Elliot Page, when Ezra Miller was destroying the Flash movie, I said recast the Flash movie with Elliot Page. Elliot Page kinda has the same sort of skinny body type and could sort of pass for the Flash. At the very least, you could have taken her face and put it on Ezra Miller's body, and I don't think too many people would have noticed. I mean, they would have noticed, but it would have looked okay. And then the reason I suggested that was because Ezra Miller was making noise that he was non-binary or trans or something. And I said, here's a way to make a chess move. You put Elliot Page in his role, and then he can't complain that you replaced him with a cis male or some BS like that. Anyway, they didn't listen to me, because I don't think they had a problem with Ezra's behavior. They just had a problem when it was costing them money, I think. And this, at the end of the day, don't get it twisted. It's all about money. Money, 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 money. And to some extent, I can't blame people for wanting money, but there comes a point where it's like, you have millions and millions of dollars. Isn't it enough? So let's see what Christopher Nolan's worth. See, Christopher Nolan's worth $250 million. So, I don't see any reason for him to wreck the Odyssey. None. Except that he wants an Oscar. I think they would have given him an Oscar regardless. There's no one left in Hollywood that brings people out to the theaters, not director-wise. Maybe Martin Scorsese, maybe Wes Anderson to a small extent, maybe Ridley Scott, a couple of others. But Nolan, yeah, he's like the top dog right now. But not after this. I think after this, people forget this movie. And look, he directed Tenet. It didn't do well. He directed Interstellar, which I think is a piece of crap, by the way. I don't know who likes Interstellar, but that movie sucked, in my view. God, I hate that movie. Not as much as Gravity with Sandra Bullock, but it's a close race. That movie's terrible. It's got a terrible ending, that's for sure. But, I think this might do it for him because it's a 3-hour movie. And I think the people who are defending this like it's their child probably have invested a little too much in this one. They're a little out on their skis. Because I'll show you one thing. I just stumbled upon this before I started. This is from someone called Gerate of Gunia, whoever that is. The Odyssee's real Rotten Tomatoes score is 56%. You read that right. It's not BS. It's not the BS 97% they're telling you. A r/Kia user reveals that despite RT's best efforts, you can still see the real audience score behind the BS verified audience score. So apparently he used the raw JSON data to prove it's actually 56%. So he tells you right here how to do it and view the source, page source. So I don't know if this is legitimate, but I mean, no one's disputing it as of yet. Summary: out of the 886 active Rotten Tomato users who at the time of this writing registered to the site on their own to rate the Odyssey, only 498, 56%, rated it positively. The current generated 97% score displayed so prominently is simply an artifact of a push notification pipeline heavily biased towards opening weekend ticket buyers. So there you go. Mark, you have to fit the DEI parameters to get an Oscars these days. Yes. And I think that's why he cast who he casted. Mark, I like Interstellar. The end is weak. Oh, God. Yeah, but that's what kills it for me. I don't know. As a writer, I can't take two things in a movie. Number one, I can't take bad dialogue. It drives me insane. When people start talking in a way that people don't actually speak, I start to lose my mind in the theater. I start to, do this in my chair, start going, what the hell's happening? The other thing is a bad ending. I always, when I write something, one of the first things I do is after I come up with the initial idea, I think to myself, how am I going to end this thing? And then I drive the story to the ending. Because I think the ending is so crucially important to any story. If you don't have a good ending, people leave the theaters pissed off. And that's the way I felt about Interstellar. Man, I was so mad. Not as mad as Gravity. Gravity is a travesty of a movie, in my view. But I was so mad. I hate when movies end poorly. And the opposite is also true. When movies end well, you can kind of forgive some of the middle or even a weak opening. You don't want to end weak. You can't end weak. How can you spend this kind of money on a story and end weak? It's just insane to me. Fortunately for Nolan, the Odyssey has a built-in awesome ending where Odysseus comes in and whacks all the suitors. So it's like baked into the cake. Like he kind of had to really go out of his way to kind of screw that up, I think. Now, and honestly, I have not seen the movie. I'm just going by the clips. I'm going by the many, many critiques I've read and watched. Some people love it and they call it, brave cinema. It's an amazing piece, a masterpiece, they call it. But most of the people who say those kinds of things don't go into detail as why. They just don't. They just say it's a masterpiece. And then you go, okay. Like, to me, one of my favorite movies of all time, I don't know if I'd call it a masterpiece, is Predator 2, because it has the greatest ending I've ever seen. Danny Glover has been fighting the Predator the whole movie. He's basically Murtaugh. He's like out of breath the entire time. He's too old to be doing this. He finally beats the Predator, and then a bunch of them just decloak around him, and he just looks at him and says, "Who's next?" Totally out of breath. I mean, it's such a great moment. Such a great ending. And then they give him a trophy and they kick him out of their spaceship and they leave. I mean, it's fantastic. The movie just ends. That's it. You don't need anything else. The movie's over. That's what I love about it. I love that ending. It blew my mind when I saw that ending. Another movie that ended really well, although it's not as good, is The Lost Boys. And it's directed by Joel Schumacher, of all people. The Lost Boys, again, spoilers. I didn't say spoilers the first time, but I'll say it now. The end of The Lost Boys, or the last line, is the grandfather, who's been in the entire movie, hasn't interacted with the vampires at all. So you assume he's completely in the dark about the vampires. At the climax, where the head vampire is going to bite the mother of the main character, kill her and probably everybody else, the grandfather backs his truck into the house. One of the posts on the back of his truck goes sliding off, impales the lead vampire, and kills him. And now the threat is over. Everybody goes back to normal. The grandfather gets out of his truck, makes his way over to the fridge, opens the fridge, drinks some orange juice straight out of the canister, and says, "That's the problem with this place. Too many damn vampires." End. I mean, you gotta love an ending like that. It's a great line, great dialogue, great ending. It's over. Boom. It's just a cherry on top. Chris Nolan, yeah, I couldn't tell you how any of his movies ended. I saw Inception, no idea. I saw the Batman movies. I think the one with Two-Face and the Joker ends with, that monologue about him being the hero that we need, not the hero we want, or something. And I think that's it. But it's not as strong as the two I just mentioned. But anyhow, bit of a tangent. The Odyssey is doing okay so far. So far. Next week, without IMAX, with whatever chickens come home to roost on this thing, allegedly fake Rotten Tomato scores, allegedly, plenty of shill media out there pushing this hard, a bunch of fedora-wearing morons pushing it like it's their child, and just in general, word gets around that this is a sort of a feminist take on the Odyssey, or based on one, and the feminist who wrote the feminist interpretation of the book Nolan used doesn't even like the film. So that doesn't bode well to me. Mark, I have seen more accidental impalements in vampire movies and comics than in all other genres. Yeah, that seems to be a problem in vampire movies and TV shows and comics. Whoops, I've tripped. Oh no, Dracula's dead. Although they just had one in Evil Dead Burn, which is really nasty. There's an open dishwasher with a bunch of knives and forks and stuff sticking up, and somebody falls back on it and gets impaled and can't get up, and then the zombie lays on top of them and makes the situation 10 times worse. Gross. But the Odyssey, and then initially the Friday box office was terrible, but it got a lot better. In fact, it did a little better than the domestic box office. So we're at 140 for the international box office, bringing the total up for the weekend to 263. Now, if this thing holds at 50%, we're looking at 130 next week. That would put it at 390 for 2 weekends. When you add the stuff during the week, it's probably going to be way over 400. Then you got the weekend after. Now that's the weekend with Spider-Man. This might be a reasonable drop off for next weekend. If Nolan gets really lucky and people don't get wise to this, I think maybe it's possible he has a really good weekend and does another 100 million. But I don't think so. My vibe is no. My vibe is no. Word is going to eke out slowly but surely. Wait a minute. This isn't the Odyssey. Wait a minute. This movie was depressing. Because people rely on, when it comes to critics, you'd be a fool to rely on the shill media. I mean, it doesn't take long to get burned by one of those guys. Mark, it won't be as hot and smoky this weekend. People might actually go outdoors. Oh, that's a factor too. Yeah, it is July. In South Jersey, we go to the shore. The rest of the country, well, that's up for grabs. And not for nothing. Again, movies as an experience, not that great. Expensive. The food's expensive. Everything's expensive. You get shown a bunch of commercials. You're sitting and sitting and sitting for God knows how long. This is a 3-hour movie. I mean, 2 hours and 52 minutes. It's basically a 3-hour movie. You add the previews and the commercials you got to sit through. You're looking at minimum 3.5, 4 hours between going to the theater and driving home. And whatever other things you do. You got to meet people or whatever. So this is like a decent size of your day. I don't think this is a weekday viewing situation. I don't think people are going to go see the Odyssey on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Thursday, maybe by Thursday. And then Friday, certainly. Saturday and Sunday again. But Monday? Doubtful. I mean, sure, some people, but not a lot. When you're talking a 3 to 4 hour commitment to see something, I mean, you got to get up for work tomorrow, typically, unless you're off. Now, it's the summertime. Kids can go to the movies. What kid is going to go see this movie? I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of kids who won't go see this movie. You know, even if this movie was good, and I don't think it's good, just my guess, I don't think they'd be interested in it. If you had a teacher that said, "Oh, I'll give you extra credit for this movie," yeah, maybe then you'd go see it for the extra credits, or you just lie to them. I guess you could go to the movie theater and find a ticket stub on the ground and show it. Oh yeah, I went here. But yeah, I wouldn't want to. You know, I wouldn't when I was a teenager, 3-hour movie. I mean, that was unthinkable, unless it was like the greatest movie of all time. I want half that. I still want half that. I want 90-minute movies. So I'm in and out in about 2 hours, including the time it takes for me to buy the ticket, walk in the theater, and walk back to my car. Like, I want to be heading back home in under 2 hours. This movie, 4-hour commitment. So I think that's going to be a factor too. I'm not sure about the worldwide box office in terms of the international market. Let's see. Do we have the... let's see what countries this dropped in. So the United Kingdom, surprisingly, 16 million, which is pretty good for the UK. France, 14 million. Italy, 11 million. Australia, 9 million. Germany, 8 million. Mexico, 7.5 million. India, 7.1 million. I'm surprised it even opened in India. Spain, 4.4 million. Brazil, 4.3. And Netherlands, 2.9. Let's see if it's going to open anywhere else. Doesn't look like it's going to open in China. Venezuela, it's supposed to open. They're kind of tied up with an earthquake. I wouldn't expect much from that. Trinidad, very small country, wouldn't expect much. The Maldives, also a pretty small country. Um, so, yeah, most of the places that it opened, it's already opened. And these aren't very high numbers. So, again, other than the UK, kind of surprised it's this high. So, you're talking about a much smaller amount of people in every country went to go see it, you know, but the drop off could be pretty devastating. You know, you don't know what these other, I mean, especially in India, you don't know if they got an Indian movie and drop in that everybody wants to go see that we don't even know about here. The UK, it's unlikely there's anything that we don't know about, and places, maybe France, but so the international box office could drop off too. I think next week you're looking at a 60% at least. 60%, maybe worse. You know, the second weekend it'll probably still be over 400 million. By the third weekend, it's got to get crushed by Spider-Man. Absolutely crushed. You might get to 450, 500 if the week does good. I kind of doubt it. But maybe you get to 500 by the time Spider-Man comes out. After that, I think this movie's cooked. Dr. Filbert Coffee Esquire is here. Nolan is British. That's why his fanboys went to see it. Yeah, and that's another factor too. If the fanboys all went to see it the first weekend, it's going to look worse next week. Dr. Filbert, word of mouth is bad on this film. It's kind of difficult to gauge that these days. On X, it certainly is. On X, you've got a bunch of fedora-wearing asshats defending this movie, and a bunch of people just trashing it left and right. But not everybody's on X. A lot of people rely on mainstream media for their movies. Not because they just don't care. You know, it's not that important to them. When you're talking about a normie and they say, well, I'll turn on the TV and see what people are talking about. He might even acknowledge that getting your news, your actual news from the television is stupid, but when it comes to movies, he doesn't really care that much about movies, so he doesn't care if it's particularly inaccurate. He'd see it as, well, it might be inaccurate, but it's probably not that inaccurate. If I hear a lot of people are going to see it, it's probably okay. I think that's the way they'll look at it. Because they don't, not because they're stupid, although they are kind of stupid for not realizing, shill media or mainstream media is just as bad for all subjects. But yeah, they see it as, well, it's unimportant to me, therefore it's too unimportant for the mainstream media to rig either way, which isn't true. In fact, this movie is crucially important, I think, for Nolan and the powers that be in Hollywood, because it's a woke movie. I mean, it's very woke. It's probably the most woke movie when you think about it. You're talking about a movie that essentially creates a world in which there are no Greeks playing the Greeks, but the Greeks are played by every color of the rainbow except the Greek color, right? There's a reason why they wouldn't even do the press tour in Greece. They would have protested this movie, and it would have looked really, really bad. Dr. Filbert, sadly, most of the public will smack their lips with praise for anything Hollywood feeds to them. I think that's faded quite a bit. I think they just don't care about movies anymore. I think a lot of people, the sort of people, and I was one of these people back in the day, like, I don't want to pay a lot for a movie or TV show or to rent things. I just want the cheapest thing. And I don't, I'll just go, I'll get it however I can. And, I have my own ways of figuring stuff out, right? And I think, and I've talked about this theory before. So I have this theory of the alpha fan. Here's how it goes. Indie Fandom is here, enjoying home cooking. Oh, what's on tap, Indie Phantom? So my alpha fan theory is this. Everybody has a friend group, and in your friend group, there's a guy you consult for certain things, right? So in your friend group, you have a guy, maybe he's really good at cars. Or you have a guy, he's the sports guy. You consult him for the sports stuff. Everybody in their friend group has like a nerd guy, or a comic guy, or maybe a history nerd guy, which would be more applicable to the Odyssey. Or maybe he's more of an academic guy who reads Greek literature or whatever. So that guy in your friend group is going to be your go-to guy, or a movie guy. And he's going to be your go-to guy. Do I go see the Odyssey? And that's the guy who makes the decision for the friend group. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't get past his gatekeeping, the rest of the friends probably bail out on the movie. Because during their conversations and emails, these things come up, and they're going to consult him, and he's going to say yay or nay. Now, the guy in the friend group that you're consulting probably saw it on opening night. He's one of these Nolan guys, or he's a history guy, or he's a YouTuber, or whatever he is. He's the guy you're going to consult. He's going to go the first night. Indie Phantom will be here till end of August, so I'm off of YouTube schedule, as I only visit the folks every summer. Did not see the Odyssey, and probably will not. Oh, well, that's nice you're going to see the folks. Say hi to the folks. So, when your alpha fan friend says, I'm not seeing this, or don't go see it, or it was terrible, the rest of the friends kind of fall in line and go, maybe we'll go see something else. Dr. Filbert, I remember the Odyssey from grammar school, and probably could have made more faithful adaptation. Yeah, and I think, I'm surprised the Europeans came through for Nolan. I would be shocked if the Europeans didn't turn on him the second week. Because I think the Europeans have 100% read the Odyssey in school. Whereas in America, I don't think we read it. I think we studied it, but I don't think we actually read it. Or spent much time on it. You read it in grammar school. That's pretty advanced, I think. So I think there's a lot of reason to suspect the second weekend drop-off's not going to go well for Nolan. The only thing he's got going for him is apparently nothing's coming up against him next weekend, which is kind of surprising. Let me see. IMDb coming soon. Yeah, let's see. Next week, it's Bad Counselors, Sia Nostalgic for the Present, Motor City. That looks okay with Alan Ritchson, if you can tolerate Alan Ritchson's and his woke giant ass. Pinocchio Unstrung, a horror movie. Her Private Hell, that looks terrible. Cruel Hands, I'm not sure about that. Hadestown, the musical. Haunted Heist. That actually kind of looks funny. It's about, I think it's an all-black cast, or mostly black cast. They go to an Airbnb, but really one of the friends wants to rob the place because there's some secret supernatural artifact there, and if they steal it, it's worth $20 million, but then they get trapped in the house, and the house is trying to kill them or something. Kind of funny. Brunella, the Gracious Visionary, I don't know what that is. Swallowtail and Dragonfly, no idea what that is. And that's it until Spider-Man, other than Wham! 10 Days in China. I don't know what that is either. Sounds like a Wham! Yeah, it's a Wham! Documentary. So there's not a lot of things up against the Odyssey next weekend. Indie Phantom, have not really heard much about its reception, but I did finally see Obsession, Backrooms, and The Invite, which was actually a really funny comedy. Really, I'm surprised. Nolan to be crushed by Spider-Man. Absolutely. Yeah, I thought Spider-Man was going to be the next weekend, but it's not until the 31st. Indie Phantom, I did hear Ellen Page is only in it for a couple of minutes. Yeah, she's only in it for about 3 minutes, but the problem with the Ellen Page and the Lupita Nyong'o characters is they're very crucial to the movie. So, Ellen Page plays Sinon. Sinon is a character that's not, first off, not even in the original Odyssey. Like, it's a completely different character. That's a character from, I think he's from Aesop's Fables. I think initially she was going to be Achilles, and at the last minute, when that got leaked, the backlash was so bad they went back and changed it to Sinon. That's my theory. Anyhow, Ellen Page plays Sinon, a Greek warrior. I don't know if I could find the clip. I don't know if I should even show it, but if you look on X for the clips of Ellen Page in the Odyssey, it's the one where she's running across the beach like this. I swear to God, that's the way she's running. She's running like a girl. She's got a helmet in her hand, and what has happened is she's been left behind to guard the Trojan horse, or to present it to the Trojans, right? So she runs like Ellen Page to the Trojan horse, stands in her spot in front of the Trojan horse, and then puts on her helmet. At that point, she gets hit by a bunch of arrows and pinned to the horse. And then they threaten her. I think they kill her. And then later she shows up as a bookend in Hades. What's the name? Odysseus asks Sinon a bunch of questions about, I think, himself and Sinon. There's also another scene with a different actor playing young Sinon, who's not trans, but a young man, because that's the scene where Sinon signs up to join the Greeks in their great battle. Mark, they had to shoe in Sinon and aced out Achilles. Yeah. So a lot of people think Sinon is a proxy for Achilles. That really, because in the Odyssey, I believe it starts where Odysseus or Achilles is already dead, and Odysseus meets Achilles in Hades later. Indie Phantom, the Odyssey is playing on screen 2 of the drive-in here with no second feature. I didn't like that because most flicks are long now. I still want a second feature to watch. The Pretensions of the Odd. Oh, wait. I still want a second feature to wash the pretensions of the odd. Odyssey. Yeah, I can understand that. It's just too long. 3 hours is too long. There's only one movie I think I've seen that was almost 3 hours long, and it was pretty good, and it didn't feel like 3 hours. And that was Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet. If you've ever seen that, it's set in the Russian Revolution, and that movie moves. It's the most kick-ass version of Hamlet you'll ever see. It's amazing. And I got out of the theater, and it was dark outside, and I was like, how long was that damn movie? And somebody said 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I was like, 2 hours and 45 minutes? I didn't even know we had been in a theater that long. Indie Phantom. Oh, you're finishing your sentence. Okay. I still want second feature to wash the pretensions of the odd off. Screw the non-Homer Odyssey. I have no interest in woke Odyssey. Yeah, I don't blame it. I mean, it's kind of a just dumb all the way around. It's the same woke playbook. Take something, wokeify it, defend it, to call everybody a racist and a homophobe for questioning it or criticizing it, make a bunch of hay, get a bunch of attention, and then just die on the vine the second week. So I'm pretty confident this is not going to be good news next weekend for Christopher Nolan. But I'm also pretty sure that no one will care. I think they look at it as a business thing. They looked at the movie, they said, ugh, this thing's going to lose a lot of money if we're not careful. Indie Phantom, most of these films are now 3 hours and feel it. Same with The Last Mission Impossible. Dr. Filbert, I wouldn't see it either. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Indie Phantom, also I would avoid Matt Damon movies in general. Matt Damon, I don't think he's a bad actor in some things, but I do think he was wrong for Odysseus. He's just not a good choice for it. He's just too blue collar. He's not regal. I was watching clips all week on X of every other version of the Odyssey. Everybody was posting clips of the older versions of the Odyssey. One is Sean Bean as Odysseus. He's pretty good. Another one is Armin Ansante. Do you remember him? He's got a bit of an accent. I'm not sure where he's from. He's very European, though. He looks the part and sounds the part because of that accent. I mean, he definitely feels like a Greek guy. I don't know if he's Greek. But he's really good. He's a really good Odysseus. I think I want to go back and find that version of the Odyssey and see it. Because they keep showing the clips of the ending scene of that where he kills all the suitors. And it's badass. He's just killing guys. Dr. Filbert, Armand Ansante was good. It looks good. Indie Phantom, I do think he's a bad actor. See Dogma. Didn't see Dogma because I kind of went through, I like Kevin Smith phase, and then went through an I hate Kevin Smith phase. I'm sort of indifferent to Kevin Smith now, although I still kind of hate him for He-Man. But during that time, I was in an I hate Kevin Smith phase, and I didn't see Dogma. I've seen a few clips from it. It's an odd movie. Doesn't really resonate with me. I'm not Catholic. Dr. Filbert, he's Italian. Oh, okay. That's pretty close to Greek. We're like this with the Greeks. Hey, yo, hey, Greek guy. Hey, yo. You got the grape leaves there. Oh, it's nice. Indie Phantom, Armin Asante version is supposed to be very good miniseries. It looks great. The clips I've seen are really fun. Great Asante movie is I, the Jury. I don't know that one. But the thing about Odysseus is in the poem, he's very clever. He tricks people a lot. He's also very playful. And he's kind of a fun character. Almost like, like an adventuring kind of guy. Like a Mark Twain sort of guy or a Daniel Boone kind of guy. He's like doing stuff, but he's laughing about it too. That doesn't appear to be anywhere in the current Odyssey movie. Like, it looks dark. Mark, Kirk Douglas as Ulysses and Odysseus is #1 for me. I think I saw some of that. I can't remember, though. It's too long ago for me, but... Indie Phantom, also Q and A with Nick Nolte. I remember that title. I don't remember the movie. Mark, the AA version is really good. The Alcohol's Anonymous version is good? Well, I'll have to check it out. No, I'm just kidding. Indie Phantom, Tony, you must see The Invite. I laughed my hole off. Really? I was really reluctant about it because Seth Rogen's really turned me off. But you give me a really solid recommendation. I might have to check it out now. I do love Ed Norton and Penelope Cruz. They looked really good in the trailer. So maybe Seth's got his mojo back. And if he could just stop talking about politics, maybe I can enjoy the movie. I'll catch it on streaming, maybe. that'll be one that'll show up on streaming. So yeah, so you got all these Odyssey problems. You've got an Indian guy who plays the second in command in Odysseus' ship. He is English by birth, but he's ethnically Indian. He looks Indian. And I wanted to say this too. The metric here is not the race of the people in the movie. That's not the metric. The metric is, how do they look and sound? If someone can watch the movie and feel that what they're seeing and hearing sounds like ancient Greek guys running around, regardless of whether or not they're speaking English, then you have a good movie, right? So, for instance, pirate movies, right? Pirates didn't always go, yar, 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 yar. They didn't always do that. A lot of that's movie pirate stuff. But when you make a pirate movie, people kind of want to hear that. They don't want to hear too much of it. It gets ridiculous after a while. But sure, you want some of the pirate lingo. Not a lot of it, but you want some of it. So it's piratey enough that people go, okay, I'm watching a pirate movie. For the Odyssey, what people want is they want to look at an actor and say, okay, that guy's an ancient Greek. That guy's an ancient Greek. So for Matt Damon, who was the closest, nobody here was Greek again. Indie Phantom. Seth Rogen is a jerk, but he is perfect mode here. The classic loser. He plays best. Clint Miller's here. Hi, Clint. Yarg. Indie Phantom. It's like a more stoner Woody Allen comedy. I am crushing on Olivia Wilde now. Olivia Wilde is so terrible in every movie I've seen her in. That's another huge red flag for me. She almost single-handedly ruins Cowboys versus Aliens, except Cowboys versus Aliens is already like one of the worst movies you could possibly see. But somehow Olivia Wilde, in my opinion, goes above and beyond to make it even worse. I mean, everybody in that movie's terrible. Harrison Ford's in it. Daniel Craig's in it. It's all terrible. But Olivia Wilde is some sort of extra terrible. I think that's her. I'm pretty sure she's in that movie, right? Clint Miller. But Zolivia is cute. She is cute. She is cute. But anyhow, the metric here is if you can look at someone and they say a line and you could say to yourself, okay, that's ancient Greek to me. And so what do people want to see? Well, typically they want to see English actors or actors who have a Shakespearean sort of delivery say, Father, I must travel through the oceans and through time itself to get back to Ithaca. Like, that's the kind of epic dialogue you want to hear in a movie like this. And a guy like Matt Damon doesn't look Greek, but he can, with a little makeup, you can make him look more Greek, right? So what would you do to Matt Damon? Well, you would dye his hair black, like jet black. His eyebrows, everything. His body hair. You would dye his hair black and make him the hairiest Odysseus you'd ever seen. Then he would look more Greek. You can't do that with Elliot Page. Elliot Page not only doesn't look Greek, although if Elliot Page was like, I don't know, Elliot Page could have played the son of Odysseus, I guess, because Elliot looks like a little boy. Elliot doesn't look like a man, in my opinion. That's the problem. Indie Phantom. I don't even know Olivia Wilde from anything else, really. She's in another sex comedy next week as a dominatrix or something. Dr. Filbert. Mel Gibson would have filmed it in ancient Greek. He probably would have. He absolutely would have, and I assume you read the same article I did, that Mel Gibson, I think 6 years ago, was slated to do an Odyssey movie, but it got canceled or pushed back or whatever, and somehow Nolan ended up with it. And that's a shame, because you look at Apocalypto, which is it was a great movie. Like, Apocalypto's badass. They're speaking ancient Mayan in the damn thing. How can you not love that movie? It's amazing. Everybody in the movie's indigenous. Everybody. That's like one of the great movies, Apocalypto. You could, a version of the Odyssey like that, oh yeah, I'd have seen that. I'd have gone to the movies for that. 100%. I'd have gone to IMAX for a movie like that. I regret not going to IMAX for Apocalypto, because I didn't see it. I didn't see it in the movies. I saw it at home. Clint Miller, none of that coin Greek stuff. Indie Phantom, okay, Tony, gotta fly, but we'll see you soon. Great, thanks for checking in. We're going to talk more about the Odyssey. Okay, so Matt Damon, you dye his hair, he's Greek. The Indian guy, you could give him enough makeup that he already has black hair, because he's Indian. Most Indians have very black hair. You give him enough makeup, okay, you lighten his skin, he looks Greek. But I don't think Hollywood would do that. They would get a huge outcry about it. So if you're not going to give him the makeup, well, you probably need to cast somebody else. There's an Asian guy in the crew of Odysseus. He doesn't belong there either. He can't look Greek. Even if you give him the makeup, I mean, you'd have to give him prosthetics to a certain extent. Again, they would never do that. So you probably want to cast somebody else. And then you got Lupita Nyong'o. Lupita Nyong'o is supposed to be Helen of Troy. She's also supposed to be Greek. She just doesn't look Greek. And again, you're not going to do the makeup to her either, so you got to cast somebody else. And again, it's all about, do they look like ancient Greeks to the audience? You actually have a scene in the Odyssey movie in which the Indian guy gets off the boat and talks to someone who's on shore and says, "We're the Greeks from Ithaca." So, you could have not put that line in, right? You could have left that line out, and then the implication would have been, this movie exists in a world in which there is a ancient country of some kind with a multiracial population. And they call it Ithaca, and it may be located in Greece, but it may be located at some sort of nexus where the multiracial harmony started in ancient times or something. I mean, you could try to sell that. I'm not saying you should or it would work. I'm saying at least that would be creatively consistent. It's creatively inconsistent to cast this rainbow community in your movie and then say, oh, they're all Greeks. They're not. They're obviously not. And then on top of that, you not only dispense with the Shakespearean delivery, which you could have done. A lot of the actors in this movie absolutely could do it. You just go with, okay, yeah, just talk like Americans. I don't think anybody who likes movies is going to say, oh, that's a great idea. But that's just me. Dr. Filbert, I don't know why they don't use unknown actors for things like this. Yeah, another thing that, well, I think for this, the purpose was to use every big name actor to draw in all those audiences. The only one, and he's getting good marks, and I called it when I saw the trailer, is Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson, it looks good in this. He looks friggin' intimidating. He looks sinister. He looks like he belongs in a Greek epic. Everybody else looks like they're out of place. Anne Hathaway, maybe. Matt Damon, maybe. Everybody else, I would have recast everybody else. No, I take it back. I would recast Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway. I would keep Robert Pattinson and recast everybody else. I would have made Robert Pattinson Odysseus. He'd been great. He'd be intense. And where is William Dafoe? William Dafoe should have been in this. He would have been awesome. Mark, how about a version of the Odyssey starring all hot chicks? Somebody posted a picture. They did an AI picture where all the girls had giant racks. It was pretty funny. Dr. Filbert, did you already mention the rapper that starts things off? Oh, I forgot about him. So Travis Scott is in it as a bard, and he actually, I give him a little bit of credit. His delivery isn't too bad. So he is a bard. He's got a big staff, and he pounds the staff down, and he starts off the story. He's like telling it in a bar in ancient Greece. But again, he doesn't look Greek. He just looks like Travis Scott. He literally looks like Travis Scott was on tour, and they called him up and said, hey, you want to be in the Odyssey? And he was probably like, well, I don't know when I'll have time. And they'll just be like, oh, just come over how you're dressed. And then he switched his clothes and then threw him up there, and he said the lines, and he was out in a week. You know, but I'll say this, he's got good energy to him. He just, it's horribly miscast. He doesn't look like a bard in ancient Greece. He looks like Travis Scott went back in time and replaced the bard. It's ridiculous. Clint Miller, the reason for using name actors is that nobody would watch it with no name actors. Probably. I don't know if it was authentic. Dr. Filbert, I would. Clint Miller, at Dr. Filbert, your movie would be a much better movie. Yeah, I think people would have watched it. I think people would have watched it because if Christopher Nolan had spent his time and energy making a movie that was authentic, even if it didn't have all the DEI cast, I think he would have struck a blow for filmmakers everywhere when the Oscars wouldn't even nominate him, right? So, like, the wheel turns, it's February, the Oscar nominations come out, Odyssey's not even on the list, and it's a brilliant movie that made $1 billion. Let the Oscars snub him. Who cares about the Oscars? The Oscars are going to YouTube. Why is Christopher Nolan even trying to get an Oscar? What good is it? It does you no good now. Back in the 80s, if something got an Oscar, they'd bring it back into the theaters, and it would do another whole run. And my parents and all their friends would be like, oh, we got to go see these movies. They all won Oscars. And they'd all get up, and they'd all go to these movies that they ignored the first time out. That was the power of the Oscar. Back in 1985. Now, what's the power of the Oscar? I don't give a rat's A about the Oscars, and I write screenplays. I don't care. The Oscars are dumb. They have been dumb for a long time. I don't know how you get an Oscar anymore, but I know it's not writing a good screenplay, because I'd seen too many people get an Oscar who probably don't deserve it. I've seen too many dumbass movies get Oscars. One battle after another got a truckload of Oscars. They got so many Oscars they had to carry them out in a wheelbarrow. This movie's going to get a ton of Oscars because I think Christopher Nolan said, I want my Oscars. And they said, put a bunch of DEI hires in it and we'll give you Oscars. And he said, okay. That's what I think. And they put millions and millions of dollars behind it, and they're going to make him richer than he already is, and they're going to give him a bunch of Oscars and a bunch more money. Because how could they not? Because he's basically bowed down to them. He bent the knee to them. All right, give me what you promised. I hope they screw him over, quite frankly. Mark, Harvey Weinstein can get you an Oscar. Yeah. Yeah. Just come up to his hotel room. He's got an Oscar in his pants. So that's what I think. I think this has all been about the Oscar. It's all been about money. But I also think that these studio people are so behind the times. Number one, they think the Oscar means something still. And they think it's going to be around forever. And people will go see movies because they're Oscar winning and it helps sales and blah, blah, blah. And to some small extent, they're still right. But it's not like it was 40 years ago. Not at all. 40 years ago, an Oscar meant something. Now it means almost nothing. The only people who it means anything to are the people already in the movie industry. And those people are already biased. You shouldn't go by them. If you're going to make a movie, you're going to edit a movie, you're trying to market a movie, you can't go by people who are already in the movie industry. That's like going by the people who are already in the comic book industry to market your comic, which happened a bunch of times. How'd that work out? Clint Miller. Amber tells me I have an Oscar in my pants. Ba-dum-bum. So, yeah, I mean, is this movie going to make money next week? It might. It might still make money. I don't want it to. Not because I hate Christopher Nolan, but I hate what he's done with the Odyssey. And I don't think long-term this is going to help movies. I think long-term this is a disaster for movies. I think it's a little hyperbolic to say, oh my God, it's the end of Western civilization and this is the core story of everything that's built on and blah, blah, blah. That ship sort of sailed when you stopped teaching the Odyssey in school, and idiots now run every public school in America. So if you really want to sound the alarm about teachers' unions and the schools before you sound the alarm about movies. Because movies are downstream, right? They're like, the only reason I think, or part of the reason, Christopher Nolan made this retardesy is because he and the studios people, and they're not dumb for thinking this, think American audiences are too stupid for a real Odyssey. Because look at the numbers of the previous Odyssey movies. They haven't done well. You know, they did okay, I guess. I mean, they were on TV and whatnot. But you can't point to another Odyssey movie and say that was a huge hit. Although you can point to Troy and say that was a hit. I think Troy was a hit. So, yeah, they don't care as long as it makes money. Now, if this thing doesn't make money, that's a problem. That's a real problem. Because they're going to lose money. But not only that, everybody's coming back. You think the chuds were mad this week? Oh, boy. Wait till this thing drops 60% next week. If this thing drops 60% or more next week, you're never going to hear the end of this. I have a friend in my X feed. Oh, I'm going to blast him next week if this thing drops by 60%. Because he was touting the Rotten Tomatoes score at 97%. He's touting all the box office. Now he retweeted it from another guy who accumulated all the information, but yeah. I can't wait to blast him. But I'll wait. Maybe it'll make money. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll make $1 billion. I'd be shocked if this movie made $1 billion. And I'd be also shocked if the movie actually makes money. I think it's in real trouble next week. Definitely by the third week. I think it's done. So it might break even. You might get a situation where it does okay next week, and then the third week it dies, but by that time, it's made most of its money, so it's not really that big a deal. Clint Miller. I recall the miniseries from the late 90s starring Armand Assante. Yeah, we were just talking about that. I've been seeing the clips of it all week. It looks really cool. It looks really cool. Yeah, I mean, people have been posting the suitor scene. Oh, and here's another thing that looked terrible in this movie. And again, I'm just seeing the clips, but they're all over X if you want to look for them. So the suitor scene is when Odysseus comes back finally to Ithaca, and he kills all the guys who have been living in his house trying to seduce his wife. And so a part of Odysseus's deal, Clint Miller, Eric Roberts as a suitor. I know, he's great. He's the last suitor to get killed in that sequence. But when Armin Assante in the 90s kills all the suitors, he's got this bow, and he's pulling it back, and it looks like a real bow. It looks like he's really shooting a bow at people. When Matt Damon does it, I swear to you, it looks like this. Like the arrow barely gets off camera. And he does it at least twice in the clip I've seen of him killing the suitors. It's like the arrow barely goes off screen, and then it cuts to a guy getting hit by the arrow, who's far enough away that it doesn't look like Damon pulled the bow back far enough to even launch it that hard. So that's, to me, is a real problem. Like, if I saw that in a movie that I paid for that was supposedly $250 million, I'd ask for my money back. And I'm not that guy. Like, I don't ask for my money back on a lot of things. Like, if I go to a restaurant and I got a bad meal, I say nothing. I just pay, and I leave, and I never go back to the restaurant again. I never tell them. I just never go back again. There's plenty of restaurants. Get it right. But with a movie, oh yeah, I'll complain. I'll go to the movie theater and say, I want my money back. That would have been a money back situation for me. If I had seen an action movie in which the guy pulls back a bow and it doesn't even look like he pulled it back hard enough to kill somebody. Yeah, that's pretty bad. What else was bad that I saw? I'm a little disappointed they didn't do the dialogue with nobody. Now that is in the Cyclops scene. The Cyclops traps Odysseus and his crew in his cave, and only he is big enough to move the rock away. So he asks Odysseus, "What is your name?" And he says, "Nobody." And later, he pokes out the eye of the Cyclops. And then the Cyclops calls for help from his brothers. And I guess he moves the rock, or they move the rock. And then Odysseus and his crew can escape. And then his brothers ask him, "Who poked your eye out?" And he says, "Nobody." In other words, like, now they don't know who to go after, kind of thing. And it's kind of a joke. Apparently they just cut that from Nolan's The Odyssey, which is a shame because that's a fun sequence. And I think what Nolan was trying to do with that sequence and the Athena and Circe and Calypso is he wanted to create the sense that these weren't gods or goddesses or witches or anything, but they may have been actual people with their own agency, and there are no gods. I think that's what he was going for, or like keeping it in sort of that gray area where you don't know. Clint Miller, Polyphemus the Cyclops. Love the Harryhausen Cyclops. Yeah, and the Cyclops does look a bit weird. It looks like he's got a vagina with an eye in it on his face. It looks weird. I'm told, though, the sequence where the crew gets turned into pigs is really cool. That's like the coolest sequence, but I don't know. Anyhow, unless you have more to say about the Odyssey, I think we should move on. It'll be very interesting to see what the numbers are next week. Very interesting. So, I, for one, would love to see it just tank. I would just love to see this thing tank, especially since there's nothing up against it next week. That would be a loud and clear sign to Hollywood. go F yourself and your woke garbage. Stop giving us woke garbage. And that may very well happen. And if it does, they have only themselves to blame because they probably made it worse. Again, they probably jacked up this $123 million price tag, box office, because they pushed IMAX, because they pushed very hard, and next week it's just going to deflate. And if it deflates by too much, they're really going to be embarrassed. And you could blame the chuds all you want. I only wish the chuds had that kind of power online. They don't. They don't. Anyhow, number 2 movie in America is Moana. This movie failed, dropping by 58%. That's pretty bad. It's done 177 million, and it had a budget of 250 million. That's no bueno. This movie's cooked. This movie is completely cooked. It may just squeak over 200 million. But that is no bueno. That's very no bueno. You could run it on Disney Plus for what that's worth, and make your Disney Plus people feel good about themselves, I guess. But you should not have made this movie. You just shouldn't have made it. What they could have made, because they did a Moana cartoon and a Moana 2 cartoon. So they already have a Moana 3 cartoon in the pipeline. What I would have done is make this movie Moana 3. That would have been cool, right? So you got Moana 1, Moana 2, and the Moana 3 is live action. That could be fun, right? That would be different. It would give you a reason to go see the third installment that maybe you didn't have in the first 2. And I know people who hate animation. One cinematographer friend in particular, he hates animation. He wouldn't go see Up. I told him how good it was. He wouldn't go see it. And he just won't go see it. He hates animation. He hates it. But, not that he would see Moana 3, but, someone like him who likes Moana might. I just think it would have been a different thing to do to generate interest in Moana 3. Number 3 is Toy Story 5, coming in at 3 for the second time. 13.7 million. Still pretty much a juggernaut. Will we get to $1 billion on this? I don't think so. We're at 957. Next week, it's at, say, 964. And then it's 967. And then maybe 1 and 2. 965, 966. Or no, that would put it at 970. I don't know. Maybe. You might just squeak. If you keep this thing in theaters long enough, you might make $1 billion. You might. I kind of got to think, though, much like the Odyssey and Moana, when Spider-Man hits, this movie's done. It's crushed. It's just going to get crushed out. Number 4, dropping from 2. Wow. Minions and Monsters. $358 million on an $85 million budget. That's not bad. Not bad at all. That's money. A lot of people praised this, said it was one of the better Minion movies. I wouldn't pay for it, but if it was on TV, I do like animation. I wouldn't mind seeing it. It looks a little goofy. I'd have to be in the mood for a goofy movie. Like if I was homesick or something and I had nothing else to watch, I'd watch that. Be fun. I'd review it. Number 5, dropping from 4, Evil Dead Burn. That's the dishwasher sequence I told you about earlier. 4.7 million. In its second week, dropping 65%. Ouch. Ouch. I kind of hate this franchise. I don't like this new Evil Dead franchise. Call it something else. It's not the Evil Dead without Bruce Campbell. If you were going to recast Ash and do, reboot Evil Dead, sure. But you're going to do it like this and it's just a regular horror movie, just call it something else. What are you doing? Number 6. Also, number 6 last week was The Invite. And now I'm rethinking this movie after Indie Phantom recommended it. I don't think he's pranking me. 3.9 million. No, I'll probably catch it on streaming then. If he says it's good, maybe it's pretty good. A movie that looks pretty good is Young Washington. At 7, dropping from 5. It's done 40 million on a $20 million movie. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, with advertising, this needs to do another 10, but this is Angel Studios. I don't think they spend that kind of money on advertising. Mark, blocks of tickets will be sold to push Toy Story 5 over the top, nearing the end of its run. Possibly. I wouldn't put that past the Odyssey people. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that they played games like that in the IMAX theaters just to fill them up and drive the price up. The question is, will anybody ever find out about it, get the proof, and will anybody be prosecuted? Because I think that would be a kind of fraud, right? But I doubt it. And maybe it's not the case, but certainly seems suspicious to me. But Young Washington looks really good. I will definitely catch that at some point. Number 8, drop it from 7, is the juggernaut of the year, is Obsession. Clocking in at 442 million. That's an amazing score considering it only cost $1 million to make. I got to watch this movie. I didn't like the look of it, I got to be honest, when I saw the trailer, but I got to figure there's something to it. If this many, the domestic box office is nuts. Look at that, 258 million. A lot of people in this country like that movie. I can't tell you why. Maybe it's the hot chick. I don't know. I got to see it. Number 9, dropping from 8, Supergirl. Oh, this movie got hosed. 121 million, and it's just about done. Just about done. I think it's already in on HBO Max. Let me see. I have HBO Max. Let's see if I can access it without giving away anything. Yeah, okay. Is Supergirl on here yet? Let's see. Let's see all the things I watch. Supergirl. There's the old Supergirl. No, it's not on here yet. Not yet. But I think it's coming soon. Yeah. Well, we already... the same people who are defending the Odyssey this week were defending Supergirl a week and a half ago. What happened to Supergirl? Mark, I watched Obsession yesterday. Well worth the watch for horror fans, especially with its super low budget. Show Hollywood how it's done. Wow. All right. Yeah, I definitely got to see that. Number 10, dropping from 9, is Disclosure Day. $115 million budget, and it made $235. That's above its production. Probably not above its advertising, though, because they did spend a lot of money on this movie. I often don't believe the advertising formula is correct in most movies, but for Disclosure Day, I could see them spending that amount. I could see them spending $55 million to advertise that. Disclosure Day was everywhere. It was absolutely everywhere when they were pushing it. Now it's just, did it even happen? Was it all just a dream? This movie got trounced, though, by the critics. The actual critics, not, the shill media. Number 11, dropping from 10. It's Backrooms. Still going pretty strong, 714K after 52 days. Still got to see this movie. 384 on a $10 million budget. If Obsession wasn't on this, if Obsession never opened, this would have been the movie. But they both are getting high praise. It's just weird, right? Like, you make a movie for $10 million and you make $384 million. Yeah, you get called the genius and everything, but then in the same weeks, another guy makes one for $1 million and makes even more money. That's kind of a kick in the nads when you think about it. But either way, I'm happy for these guys' success because it's about damn time we got anything else in the movies. Holy crap. Have movies been in the toilet for a long time? And speaking of toilet, rising from 13 to 12 is Scary Movie. This movie punched way above its weight. $228 million on a $30 million movie. The upshot is it's a comedy, and they're going to be making more. So I hope they give the Wayans brothers some money and a 3-picture deal so they can make any other movie other than a sequel to this. But we'll see. I didn't see the original White Chicks movie, but sure, why not make a sequel to that? I would like to see them make a new movie, though, because I hear that the Scary Movie is not even watchable, really. Number 13, dropping from 12, is Jackass Best and Last, $230K. Again, like, I love the Jackass franchise, but this is a total weight. I mean, like, they didn't even bother to change the movie poster. That's one of the old movie posters. It's the best one, but, you know, after Ryan Dunn died, it's like, guys, you're getting old. It's time to pass the torch. If anything should have passed the torch, it should have been Jackass. Like, Jackass should have found new guys and just passed the torch. And let Johnny Knoxville and the other guys show up once in a while and then let the new guys hurt themselves. But I will see that when it hits streaming. Number 14, for the second week in a row, 142K, is Michael, the juggernaut of a biopic, $1 billion. Yep, makes sense. Star Wars, Mando and Google, at number 15, up from 16, 115K. 2 months in theaters. I don't know why you bothered. In its second week, is dropping from 11 to like 16, is Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass, $111,000, dropping 88%. Ouch. That's a big no bueno. Jesus. Holy crap. It's not even out of theaters. It's in the same amount of theaters. Boy, you got effing B-slapped. Your dog news is here. Hello, Tony, and everybody in chat. Hello. That is horrific. 88% drop. Ouch. That's a shame because all the state guys are in it, and I like those guys. I still kind of want to see it, to be honest. Masters of the Universe, 103K, dropping 60%. But it's been out a while. 113K on 170 million. This lost money, but I might check this out on streaming. I think a lot of people will. This may actually become a bit of a cult classic on streaming. I don't know. Mark, gotta bounce. TTYL to you, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I might check out Masters of the Universe. After that is Maddie's Secret, 80K. That's the, I don't know, Canadian comedian and drag movie. I don't know what it is. Mary Oliver, Saved by the Beauty of the World, coming in at like 20 up from 27. They put it in more theaters. The Devil Wears Prada 2, hanging in there at like 21, 36K. Leviticus, still hanging around at 36K. The Death of Robin Hood, still hanging around at 15K. I Love Boosters, still in theaters? After 60 days, 14K. Sherman's March, back in theaters again, 13K. Peter Asher, Everywhere Man, 12K. New, The Kidnapping of Arabella in one theater. Holly spends days at her dad's dead-end job fantasizing about holes in the space-time continuum and wondering where her life went wrong when she meets Arabella, an 8-year-old rebel hoping to run away from her self-absorbed author father. Holly becomes convinced that their meeting is a cosmic sign and that Arabella is in fact her past self sent back for a second chance. The two embark on an unconventional road trip between two lost souls who might be exactly what the other needs. That's a strange pitch. Your dog news, probably terrible. Not sure we can make a good movie here in Canada anymore. Well, Joe Meir Hobbs made a movie, right, Joe? Are you still here? You still listening? Romeria, 10K. The Floaters, 10K. In its second week, up 11%, but that's not a very big box office. 26K. I mean, it doesn't look like the worst movie ever made. It looks kind of fun, sort of like it's like a Jewish version of Meatballs. It's like a Jewish summer camp, but it's like a wacky summer camp. I would see that movie. Remake, 7K. Barrio Triste, 6K. A Lucky Strike, 5K. Reading Lolita and Tehran, 4K. Night Nurse, 4K. The Hole, make your own joke, 2K. Underland, 2K. The Devil Queen, 1K. Blue Heron, $694. The Currents, $429. Jacked, $400. And Two Pianos, $83. I think you ought to take that one out of theaters. The total box office, 188,225,475, and most of that is the Odyssey. So that's it. That's it for the box office this week. Whew. All I can say is phew. Let's see. How much of that? 188, and it's 26, 43, 166 is the first four movies. 166 out of 188 is the first four movies. So you got 22 million is all the other movies. And then if you add 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe 16, you could add maybe 16 more for the top 10 movies. And then you're at 182. 182 million out of 188, which means everything from Backrooms down is about $6 million. That's how top heavy the box office is. All right, we're going to get into some headlines here. First up is Fandom Pulse. Fans are making this Star Trek. Paramount won't. Yeah, okay. I mean, you could waste your time with that, and I think it's a waste of time and talent. But if it's something you like to do for fun, I'm fine with it. But if you're going to spend real money and then get mad when the studio pulls the plug, I don't know what to tell you, man. Fanfic is fun, but if you get too sucked into it, it's a disaster. It's poison. Okay? Like, if you're doing this and you're in high school, more power to you. Nobody's going to go after high school students, make it a Star Trek movie. It's fun. It's cool. But if you're grown adults doing it, I mean, why not put your money and time and effort into making a new space franchise? One that, it could have plenty of similarities with the original Star Trek. Plenty. Star Trek now is so far away from the old Star Trek. I mean, it wouldn't take much to make it different. Change the names, change a few things, change the designs. You're ready to go. I know you want to play in the world of Star Trek. You want to have Captain Kirk and Spock and all this stuff. But you can make your own. Please make your own. I urge you. Vox Day launches Byron AI crowdfund to beat Amazon's coming textual AI push. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, I guess it's because they're going to launch a bunch of books in AI. I don't know why you would read a book in AI. It sounds like the dumbest reason to read a book ever. Why would you pay? You can literally go to the AI and say, AI, tell me a story. And it'll tell you a story. And if you want to spend money, if you're going to spend money on an AI book, you might as well just spend money on an AI. And then you could have a different story every day. You don't even have to read it. You can have the AI tell you in whatever voice you want. Just pay. Don't pay for an AI book. Pay for the AI. And then you'll get something. I don't think you'll get something that good. Oh, man, I got to go to the bathroom. Hold on. Hold on. Is Joan here? There's Joan. All right, Joan. It's your time. It's your time to shine. Little Joan. I got to pee. Little Joan. All right. Be right back. All right, Joan. Oh, that bitch. Oh. I'm back. Sorry about that. Lose my voice. All right. Next up, Avengers Doomsday trailer. Oh, let's look at that, or the article about it. I just did a thing on this. What does Fandom Pulse say? Oh, he's going to have a reaction. Okay. Yeah, I had a reaction too. It's meh. I mean, it's okay. It doesn't really refute any of the rumors. And the rumors sound terrible. But they might be wrong. I know, Joe. Here, I'll put you back down. All right, calm down. God. So check it out yourself, I guess, if you're interested. Everybody's kind of sick of the Avengers and the MCU, quite frankly, I think. Peter David's Arthurian obsession gave tie-in fiction a backbone most writers never bothered to build. Peter David was a good writer, I think. It's a shame he kind of got screwed in his divorce, and and then had all sorts of health problems, but he was a pretty good writer. Hashtag Save Stargate gets the biggest voice yet as petition tops 110 signatures. Again, I like the idea of this. You know, it's great that the original cast and the producers want to get back, and the writers and all that good stuff. I personally didn't really like Stargate. I didn't really watch it. You know, the original movie's okay, I guess. It's just not that great. But if fans want it, sure. I just find it like weird that people spend all this time trying to get people to do things in the corporate world when they could be spending their time, I don't know, helping people who are brand new, have a really cool thing. You know, why not make them a big deal so you get something new? But you know, if you're going to spend your time petitioning for a TV show, you can do a hell of a lot worse than the Stargate situation. So, why the Tolkien estate must keep the Silmarillion away from Peter Jackson in Hollywood? You know, why? Look, they either have control of it or they don't. And likely, they are seeing it as a thing to be managed now, a thing to license and make money from. They don't see it the same way as Tolkien himself sees it, or even his son. I think his son is gone now. I guess you're dealing with the grandkids and probably a bunch of family members who are just making group decisions. You know, I personally, looking at the Pineys, if the Pineys were in that situation sometimes in the future, and my descendants or family members were looking at over, oh, what are we going to do with the Pineys? Oh, let's license it to Christopher Nolan so he could F it up. I wouldn't be too happy about it, but if I'm gone, there's nothing I could do about it. I would, again, urge you to go back and look at my videos that I want the Pineys done exactly as I wrote it, period. That's it. Just do it as it's written. That's it. If you do it any other way, I don't approve. But, you know, if you're gone, you're gone. I mean, Tolkien's gone. What are you going to do? This is what Hollywood does. But this is a lesson for people who have projects to understand what Hollywood does. They're about the money. Okay? And I think, you know, a guy like Peter Jackson, he's done really great work. There's no denying the man's done great work. However, you get to a point in your career, I think, where you could still do stuff, right? Like Peter Jackson after The Lord of the Rings, he could still be offered movies that aren't Lord of the Rings, something completely different, right? But what's going to happen is that everybody's going to gravitate back towards, oh, why don't you do a sequel to Lord of the Rings? And he's going to be like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do something different. And for a long time he does that, but eventually, like, the choice is, does he go and take the more Lord of the Rings stuff money and make a lot of money, or does he take some $6 million movie where he has to work 10 times as hard, he doesn't make as much money, you know, he doesn't get the distribution. He may be doing this project in order to get other projects off the ground. And he may not have control. It's simple as that. You know, he sort of had control for a while. They gave him the reins, and it did real well. And that's why they wanted him to do The Hobbit, I assume. And that's why they want him to do this. But they, you know, maybe he has some other book that he wants to do, and they're just like, no, we're not giving you that book. We want you to do this first. We want you to squeeze every dollar out of it, because we know we're going to make hundreds of millions of dollars on you doing this. We don't know what you're going to make on the new thing. Your dog news. It should be easy enough to do the Pineys as written, I would think. But, you know Hollywood. Hollywood's going to do what it does. Oh, it's good. It's so cold. Silo Season 3 isn't being review bombed. It's boring, and Graham Yost's own quotes proves he knows it. Well, this show, I think I called this when I did the initial trailer reaction to season or Silo initially when it came out. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, we're all trapped in a silo, and then there's a world outside, but we can't go to that world. And we're in the silo. What's the mystery of the silo? And will we ever get out of here? When you set something up like that, I think it's inevitably going to fail, because outside is not going to look as good. Like, if you're going to set up something like that, it's got to be like Fallout. Like, you got to get out of the bunker the first episode and completely destroy any myth of like what's outside. And they did in Fallout, and Fallout's a okay show. It's not the best show, but I like it. I like the video game so much. I kind of just keep liking the show. This show, once you're stuck inside the silo and the mystery of the silo, you're just basically moving the pieces around, seeing how many times you can, delay the inevitable. So, I would not watch this show ever. It looks like it's just going to keep delaying until it ends. Here's more on the Odyssey. Bitchute Trimble gets her invite. Creation Entertainment confirms Star Trek Legend August conventions. So, she was one of the main people involved in the fandom who helped get keep Star Trek, the original Star Trek, on air. And she was not initially invited to the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. So thank God they've corrected that. I mean, I think obviously she's important to the fandom. Without her, Star Trek wouldn't have gone as long as it did. Games Workshop declares war on its own community. This has been a sad state of affairs for a while. Your dog news. I haven't watched the Fallout show yet. If you like the game, you'll probably like the show. It's okay. It's gotten better. It's not great. First season, super slow. Out of the 8 episodes, 1 is good. 1 is solid. The rest, like if you picked out the best pieces of the rest of the episode, you could maybe get another episode out of it. But the second season, more consistent, more stuff happens. If you like the game, you'll like the show, I think. Your dog news, LOL. The thing that's cool about the show, it really captures the aesthetic of the game well. And the aesthetic of the game hits so hard, it's almost a character unto itself. It really is. And they've done some cool stuff with extra characters that weren't in the game in the second season. So they added characters from like the guys who were in the Brotherhood, the big suits of armor. They had a meeting of the various factions in the Southern California region, and they made up a bunch of generals, and they were pretty cool characters. They had cool designs. They were pretty neat, and they're not afraid to kill characters. They have 3 main characters, but really Walter Goggins, who plays the cowboy ghoul, steals the show. He steals every scene, man. He's just so good. But yeah, Games Workshop, this is the guys who do Warhammer. They've been sort of pissing in the face of their community, in my opinion, for a long time now. Ever since they started with, oh, we got to add women into the Warhammer game because you know how many girls love to sit around and paint miniatures and then sit in a room that smells like BO while they play miniature Warhammer. No girls like to do that, by the way. No girls are going to watch the Warhammer show or the movie. They basically sold out their fandom for nothing, in my opinion. But, you know, this is, again, the wokeness coming forward and saying, women, women, women. Women, women, women. Women, 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 women. But what about, no, women. And what are you going to do? You could turn down the money, but I don't see these guys doing that. But that's just my opinion, as it always is. All right, and that's it. All right, let's go to Variety. Paramount Warner Brothers merger has been paused. Okay, so this is ridiculous, in my opinion. A bunch of blue states got together, and they're suing Paramount Warner Brothers because they see it as a some sort of monopoly that has to be broken up. That you can't allow the merger because it will destroy competition in the movie industry. These are the same people who, in my opinion, didn't say a peep, not a peep, about Disney. Disney, because these are all blue states, has the correct politics. Therefore, there's no problem with Disney. Warner Brothers Paramount doesn't share their politics. Now, they would probably argue that they're MAGA. They're not. They're aligned with Trump to some degree, but that means nothing in the world of corporate cutthroatery. Means nothing. Trump's going to be out of office in 3 years. What will that mean? Even if they aligned with Trump, even if they perfectly align with Trump, what does that mean? It means nothing. So this is, again, another political hit job trying to get at Trump any way the judges can. So anybody who's aligned with Trump, anybody who talks to Trump, anybody who says nice things about Trump, anyone who's ever looked at Trump and not immediately spit on their TV, well, they got a problem with you. That's the problem. These people are zealots. I think these judges ought to be investigated. There's so many of these judges that need to be investigated and probably disbarred. Will it happen? Probably not. There's just too many of them. They're, I think, trying to drag the feet of the Trump administration to the point at which he won't get anything done. He'll be out of office, and then they can go back to robbing us blind and using our tax money for their stupid pet projects. Hopefully that tide has turned. We'll see who runs in 2028. The Odyssey, ranking every performance in Christopher Nolan's film from worst to best. Okay. Now, before I look at the list, place your bets. Who do you think is going to be the worst and the best? I looked at some of the lists, so I'm biased. But if I had to pick it genuinely based on what I saw in the clips, I would say the worst. The best is definitely Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson should be right at the top. The worst, based on what I saw, man, that's a tough call. I guess I got to pick Elliot Page. Elliot Page doesn't look like a man. You know, and that's just a huge, you know, at least the other male characters look like men. It's just too big of a handicap to overcome with acting. If she had changed her body language, maybe. I blame most of that on Christopher Nolan, by the way. Christopher Nolan should have told her. Should have said, no. You can't run with your arms out like this. You have to run with your arms like this. Like you actually want to kill somebody. All right, let's look at the ranking. Who do I think is going to be on the bottom? It definitely won't be Elliot Page. It has to be a white guy, I'm guessing. Or maybe Anne Hathaway. No, it's Tom Holland. Okay, yeah, I could see that. He's just basically Peter Parker, they say. That's rough, man. They're criticizing him without criticizing the movie, really. That's rough, man. Benny Safdie. Yeah, I heard bad things about him, too. He's not in it that long. Mia Goth. I didn't even see a clip of her. I guess that's her behind Anne Hathaway. John Bernthal. Yeah, he's kind of chewing up the screen in the ones I've seen. Logan Marshall Green. Kind of looks Greek. Not really. Needs darker hair. Corey Hawkins. Not sure. You show a picture like this, I'm supposed to pick him out of a crowd? At least circle him or something. Charlize Theron is number 11. I mean, she still looks pretty good, I think. Hamish Patel is number 10. That's the Indian guy who's the second in command of Odysseus's crew. He's just in it, saying lines. Lupita Nyong'o, Helen of Troy, of course, she's going to be in the top 10. James Remar, I don't know who that is. Zendaya, okay. John Leguizamo. A couple of people complimented him that he wasn't bad in it. See, like, he can kind of pass for Greek, at least as an old man, right? Because he's got gray hair and he's got kind of tan skin. So he kind of passes as Greek. They should have given him a beard, I think, but other than that, Elliot Page should not be 5. Come on. Anne Hathaway probably shouldn't be at 4. She's not great. Matt Damon. Yeah, I don't think he should be 3, although a few people did compliment his acting. Robert Pattinson should definitely be number 1. He's so good in this, but who's number 1? Samantha Morton. A few people did say she's great, but I don't know. I didn't see any clips of her. Clint Miller. James Remar was Ajax in The Warriors. Oh, hold up. No way. James Remar. All right. James Remar in The Warriors. I remember him. Oh, yeah. That was like his second film. Wow. Oops. All right, let's see if we get a James Remar in The Warriors. James Remar in The Warriors. All right, let's go to an image. That's him in The Warriors. Oh, here. You can't see this one. My head's in the way, but yeah, okay. I remember him from The Warriors. All right. So yeah, that's the ranking of the actors. I don't know why you would rank them like that. I think you really dissed Tom Holland, putting him on the bottom. And he went through a lot of trouble to be in this movie. He put the pause on Spider-Man just so he could be in this movie. So, I think you're kind of throwing some shade at him. Here's the Avengers Doomsday trailer. Doctor Doom battles the X-Men and the MCU, and the Avengers face off. Captain America returns. No, he doesn't. Steve Rogers returns, but he doesn't get his uniform back, according to the trailer and according to the rumors anyway. I've been scammed left and right. Demand for Odyssey tickets gives rise to sketchy scalpers. Sure it does. Here's the 13 best performances in Christopher Nolan's movies, from Matt Damon to Heath Ledger. Oh, it's in all the movies. I don't want to see that. Afterlife with Archie series from Riverdale team greenlit at Disney Plus. That seems like a TV show that should be on Disney Plus. if it's wholesome. If it's a wholesome TV show. But I guess it's kind of like Tales from the Crypt with Archie? Or is he dead in it? The show is based on the comic book series from Roberto Aguirre's Casa and Francisco Francavilla. The logline states, when a supernatural spell from a certain teen witch backfires, Sabrina, unleashing an army of the possessed dead upon Riverdale, Archie and his friends must fight to stay alive, testing the friendship, romances, and loyalties that have always held them together. Oh, so it's like a zombie version? All right. Could be fun. 5 reasons the Odyssey defied box office expectations. All right, we'll take a quick look at that. Let's see. All in on IMAX. Yeah. All hail Nolan. I think you spelled that Hall Nolan. All audience blockbuster. I don't know about that. All about the big screen. All the hype was justified. I don't know. Clint Miller, feed him, Jughead. That's what Reggie would say. And give him a shove. Give him a shove right out of the out of Pop's soda shop. The Emmys effed this up. Streamers and networks are outraged as 5 categories get cut from the telecast. I don't think anybody cares. I think you could add 1,000 or subtract 1,000 categories from the Emmys. Who the hell cares about the damn Emmys? Nobody cares about the Oscars. The Oscars are going to YouTube. You think anybody cares about the Emmys? You should. Here's what they should do with these award shows. There should be an Oscars for movies, American movies, and there should be an Emmys for television, American television. And they should have a telecast, but it should be on a channel like C-SPAN. Not C-SPAN, but a channel like C-SPAN. Like an entertainment channel. And it should go back to being a very niche industry thing, because that's why people liked it. Like, if you make it like a TV show that normies are supposed to watch, it sucks. If you make it like a real industry dinner, where it's just, you know, where you go through all the awards, the actual awards, and, you know, make it very inside baseball, I think people would like it a lot better. I would like it a lot better, but that's just me. I want to see, you know, I want to see these industry wonks sitting around for hours and nothing happening. I don't want to see Broadway shows and all this other BS. I don't want to see entertainment. Let them all have dinner. Give the awards like it's a real award show. Like the cameras don't matter. That's the way I would do it. Adam Driver turns down so many Marvel movie offers that it's become the tradition at the studio to Zoom with him, and then he passes. Of course, he's not stupid. He already did your stupid Star Wars movie. He's already famous now. He's already getting real acting gigs. The moment he takes another one of your stupid acting gigs, his credibility, in my opinion, goes down a notch. He's supposedly going to be Mr. Sinister in the X-Men, which, I mean, he looks like him a little bit, but, you know, if he needs to, he needs to, but I wouldn't take it if I were him. I would try to stay out of those roles, try to remain the actor's actor, because Robert De Niro, for the longest time, he stayed away from anything. He stayed away from, he only did, like, critically acclaimed movies, like the hottest movies that were really big. Then he sort of came down to like big movies like Heat, which was kind of critically acclaimed but wasn't like an art house movie. He started doing those, but they were still big movies, still very popular. And then eventually he just started doing anything. But it took him many years before he got to that point. That's where I think Adam Driver is now in his career. Like, he mostly takes or tries to take movies that are like real actor movies. Except for 65 Million Years. That looks stupid. And possibly that other movie where he's the dad and the family are all in the station wagon. Nicole Kidman, Elle Fanning, President Plus series discretion cast Josh Lucas. I don't know who that is. Scrubs revival ups Ava Bunn to series regular ex Mayo and Joel Kim booster exit. I don't know who those people are. I don't like watching Scrubs. Let's see. Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze surf back into theaters for Point Break's 35th anniversary. Some people will go see that, I guess. Over at Bounding into Comics, Valve confirms component prices are still rising. All right. Over at Hollywood Reporter, Christopher Nolan on the Odyssey whetting his horror appetite, making the ultimate dog movie and re-releasing The Prestige. I think that movie was pretty good, if I'm remembering correctly. Brie Larson is back in a horror movie called Skeletons from J.T. Mulner, lands summer 2027 release at Sony. So she's trying to build her career. She should have stayed out of the MCU. Let's see. Dutton Ranch and The Burrows join most watched series lists for 2025-26 season. Oh, that's weird because didn't The Burrows get canceled? Pretty sure that got canceled. Over at Bleeding Fool, Microsoft gaming chief Asha Sharma faces controversy. She seems to be firing all the woke people at her company, which is good, and forcing the developers to actually work on Fallout 5, which is great. I'm like all about that. I may actually download and buy Fallout 76 if I ever get any free time. Sydney Sweeney expands her busy slate with a Sleepy Hollow horror. Okay. She gonna be in Sleepy Hollow? So she's going to be in a version of Sleepy Hollow called Hollow. Instead of retelling the original story beat for beat, the new version shifts focus to Katrina Van Tassel. The character is no longer framed as a prize for competing men. Pass. Hard pass. James Gunn's DCU problem, no plan and no respect. No, I think his problem is he's probably fired, but they haven't made it official yet. Marvel Comics, big move from New York City to LA raises bigger questions. Not really. I mean, look, it's going there. And what that means to me is the same thing that it meant when, the other comic book companies moved there. It's all about the movies. It was never about the comics. And they're going to squeeze every dollar out of the movies until they start licensing the comics to other people. And at some point, comic book stores are going to be dead. I mean, they're in dire straits now. Sorry, I'm blowing up on the phone. The hell are you sending me? I'll have to look at this later. They're in dire straits now, but this is going to hasten that, I think, to some degree. And it's going to change the nature of what comic books they continue to publish. I mean, they're already pretty woke. Now you're based out of Southern California. Oh, well, guess what? It's going to get even woker, if that's even possible. So good luck. Good luck selling that. Let's see. What do the Fates have in store for the Odyssey as award season begins? They're already talking about awards for this stupid movie. Unbelievable. Peter Lassley dies. Legendary late-night producer who worked with Carson and Letterman, was 93. R.I.P. Sony dates Bad Robot's J.T. Mulner horror pick Skeleton starring Brie Larson. Oh, it's from Bad Robot? I don't know about that. Marvel's Kevin Feige says he feels like a gigantic loser and failure over failed Blade reboot with Mahershala Ali. Okay. From your mouth to God's ears. Rebel Wilson's The Deb gets first trailer and digital release. Who cares? Pick sparked high-profile legal battle. I thought that movie already came out, but I guess it didn't. A Different World Season 1 first look photo show You Can Come Home Again. They brought that show back. All right. Enjoy. Moving on. Cosmic book news. Avengers Doomsday mystery collectibles spoiled by Fandango's own fine print. Avengers Doomsday sellouts have a catch. Theaters are holding screens for Dune 3. Avengers Doomsday synopsis surfaces as tickets go on sale. 3 distinct universes. Okay. Zack Snyder and Frank Miller post video morphing The Dark Knight Returns into live action. It'd be great if they did a Dark Knight Returns. If the Snyder could stay on script, I'm all about it. He did a great job with 300. I would love to see him do a Dark Knight Returns. It's long overdue. Here's the wrap. FIFA eyes up $4 billion for the next U.S. World Cup media rights deal. Yeah, it did pretty well, I guess. TIFF 2026 lineup. I Play Rocky films by Chris Rock and Rebel Wilson set premieres. If you haven't seen the trailer for I Play Rocky, that looks really good. I mean, the guy playing Rocky friggin' nails it. The guy playing Carl Weathers nails it. You gotta kind of be a fan of the Rocky films, but it looks pretty good. Hollywood and Toto, why Odyssey Theater's bizarre Jewish message matters. Okay, before there were the Jews, there was the Odyssey. That message graced an Oregon movie marquee showing Christopher Nolan's new film mere days ago. That's weird. Why would they put that up there? That is a very strange thing. It seems that anti-Semitism is rearing its ugly head everywhere you look, popping up, for example, in a theater sign in Oregon promoting the Odyssey. That's very strange. Did they mean it that way? I guess. That's very strange. The Odyssey's Christopher Nolan just did the unthinkable. I mean, making the Odyssey the way he did, I think, is pretty unthinkable. Over at That Park Place. More on the Doomsday trailer. More on the Skydance merger with Paramount. Fast and the Furious Supercharged closing for good this summer. Let it go. God, it's been long. Talk about long overdue. Please end that franchise. We are coming for eBay one way or another, Ryan Cohen says as he dismisses digital games as a threat to GameStop. Is he actually going to buy eBay? That's crazy. That's the rumor. GameStop's going to buy eBay. This is from Geeks and Gamers. Over at the Post Millennium, Hassan Piker praises mass murder Mao Zedong. 80 million Chinese people were killed under his cultural revolution. There's no surprise there. I mean, Hassan seems to say anything like ever. He'd say anything to get clicks and hits, and he says more and more outrageous things every day. I say, but here's another media thing. Alabama woman deletes herself at urging of ChatGPT to fulfill divine prophecy. That's pretty crazy. Maybe mentally ill people shouldn't use the AI. And Andy No reports State Department links Antifa lawyers to decades of Cuban communist influence. Totally not surprised about that. Let's see. All right. And more on communism over at the Post Millennium. They're covering it. Covering it, they're not for it. They're covering it, though. Over at Breitbart, there was a firebombing of a federal building in New York. Gas prices spiked to $4. They're following the parasitic outbreak. Wash your lettuce very thoroughly. Canada's indigenous community, angry as Carney abandons them to wildfires. It's a shame. All right, let's go to entertainment here. Melania Trump. Greek Odyssey author trashes Nolan's Odyssey, trying to pack everything in while missing themes that were essential. The other rumor, too, was that Nolan had to get the Odyssey under 3 hours in order to, because they don't show any IMAX movie over 3 hours. I guess that's some sort of rule. So there was a lot of criticism of the editing, that it felt very rushed, like things were moving forward quickly but at the same time it felt long, which is weird. John Nolte, the Odyssey conquers the globe with $264 million. Samuel L. Jackson suggests black World Cup supporters of historically racist Argentina are race traitors. It's a bit much. JFK Jr. mocks Spider-Man star Mark Ruffalo. He's got really bad Trump derangement syndrome. I saw that video. There was a halftime show during the World Cup, if you care about that, and Trump was there. Tom Cruise gives uplifting speech before World Cup final. This is unity. He's trying to be a positive guy. He was also very positive about the Odyssey. Brantley Gilbert blasts aggravating artists who withdraw from patriotic shows over woke backlash. Yeah. Bill Maher says Democrats are cowardly. My vote is in play. True. Ex-boss of mine. The world what? What are you looking at? The World Cup. The World Cup. Jimmy Fallon mocks Joe Biden's upcoming memoir. It's 3 pages of what he remembers from the White House. Trump-obsessed Rosie O'Donnell claims Trump is obsessed with her. The legend of Tom Laughlin, Dolores Taylor, and Billy Jack. I don't know who some of those people are. The names sound familiar. John Nolte, Netflix used AI in 300 programs this year. The World Cup. You didn't hear about the World Cup? They've only been talking about it endlessly. Well, here's Woke War. Black New York City politician slams DSA as white supremacist while growing Dem feud spills onto social media. Hilarious. We're still bombing Iran. Ex-Miss Universe Jamaica contestant dead at 35. That's no bueno. A lot of communism going on in New York. Your dog news. Never heard of it. Former porn stars viral World Cup ends with epic $1 million gamble. All right. What? Oh, Mia Khalifa. Always doing stuff. Your dog news. I live under a rock. You do? Well, at least it's shady under there. Let's see if there's anything else. We're about to wrap things up here. Jerry O'Connell name drops 90s TV icon who dumped his ass after literally one date. Okay. What does he care? He's married to Rebecca Rogermain. It's not porn. Playboy rebrands nude playmates, touts respectful makeover of bunnies. Oh, Jesus. Look, Give us the hot chicks or don't bother. Just do hot chicks all day long in your magazine, and don't try to make it a like some kind of intellectual thing. Let's see. There's a lot of stories about diarrhea. Jesus. Breakout sports media star announces end of short broadcasting career on Fox. Well, that was quick. Single women say men with roommates is the new dating deal breaker. It's a heavy no for me. Well, don't worry, guys. That's an easy fix, right? Okay, dude, you got to get out of the apartment tonight and pretend like you don't live here. Where the hell am I going to sleep? It doesn't matter, man. I got to get some. You know what I'm saying? I'll do it for you. You just got to go spend the night somewhere. Yeah, I'll give you money for a hotel. You just go. Oh, man. You know that's going to happen. 100%. Wannabe influencer charged in Long Island drunken crash with kids in car had another DWI on record. Don't drink and drive. You're hot enough to get some dude to drive you around. Get some simp to drive you around. Okay, Bijou Phillips steps out for lunch date just 2 weeks after receiving life-saving kidney transplant. Damn. I didn't even think you could be up and around in 2 weeks after a kidney transplant. That seems pretty impressive. Jomir Hobbs, how are you? I referenced you earlier. You made a movie. Are you Canadian, Joe? Are you Canadian or am I crazy? Or are you just out west and I think you're Canadian? What else? What else? What else? Oh, this jelly roll divorce. Just get it over with. I'm sick of hearing about your ex-wife. Okay. Sports. I don't care about that. Oh, here's the fire in New York. Man, he just poured a bunch of fuel on the steps and set it on fire. It was crazy. Employee of the Month files $20 million lawsuit against Magic Mountain, alleging racial discrimination. It's weird. Why'd you make him Employee of the Month? Oh, here we go. Now we can end on something. Secrets out. A-list supermodel set to return to the Victoria's Secret's fashion show. All right, we'll take a look at this because we have to check news. This is kind of a news show, so we have to check entertainment news and make sure this is what they say. Gigi Hadid. She's pretty hot. I don't know why she's with Kanye West, but there you go. There's Hadid again, looking hot. Okay. Also looking hot there. Your dog news. Finally. All right. Good. Yep. Oh, that's a good one. That's a great one. I like that one. Her sister Bella. Ooh. Oh, that's her sister. Wow, she looks great. Okay, that's it. That's it. Clint Miller. At last. All right. What have we learned today? Well, we learned that you guys want bikini pics a lot sooner than I delivered. Sorry about that. We also learned about the Odyssey. Everything about the Odyssey. And I've been making videos all week. Everybody's talking about the Odyssey. I think next week they're going to be very quiet about it if this movie doesn't do well. I do. And definitely by the third week, I don't think you'll hear a peep out of the fedora wearing guys who keep defending this movie. Your dog news, LOL. We also learned Indie Phantom is on vacation with the folks. Godspeed, Indie Phantom. Mark stopped by. Jomir Hobbs stopped by. Clint Miller, your dog news. Everybody stopped by. I was glad to see you guys. Find me here on Monday. We also learned, comics are in the toilet as always. We learned about some other movies. We learned that Spider-Man doesn't actually premiere until 2 weeks from now. So we'll be talking about Spider-Man in 2 weeks. As for me, I am doing an event next week, next Saturday. the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. And that is on Saturday from 10 to 5 in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So if you'd like to come out, look it up, because I'll be there all day, and I'll be telling the folks in Tennessee all about the Jersey Devils. So wish me luck on that. That's going to be a 10-hour drive. It's going to be a bit of a grind, but I'll have some companionship. It should be fun. And next week, I'll be back for the live stream. My videos may be a little sparse during my trip, so I'm not going to be able to make too many videos during the trip. I might only do I'm going to bank a few extra videos, but I probably will only do two at most a day. So for those of you who love the news, I'm not going to be able to do the news blast on the road, but if something happens, I'll try to. Your dog news sounds like an adventure. Have fun. Thank you. Clint Miller, road trip. Yeah, road trip. Yeah. Should be fun. So for me and Little Joan, thanks for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you in the next one.